If you were chasing a bad guy and you had a radio, you'd use it, right? 1691, foot pursuit, 9th and Main. If you had to arrest a bad guy and you had handcuffs, you'd use them, right? If you had to drive a bad guy to jail and you had a cruiser, you'd use it, right? So let me ask you this. If you had people in your police department who were reading police reports and they were looking at crime data and they were looking at trends in the data, why wouldn't you use those same people to help you evaluate your policies, procedures, and strategies to fight crime? That's one of the main questions that Piza Fegn asked in their 2017 paper about the role of crime analysts in police departments. Before we talk about the paper and their findings and why they're so vitally important to the field of law enforcement, let me give you some background about the field of crime analysis.
Prior to the era of intelligence-led or data-driven policing, officers and agencies were often left to their own devices to figure out crime patterns, trends, and where incidents were likely to occur.
My crime witching rod says a robbery is about to happen right there. Your fire hydrant disguise isn't fooling anyone. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Crime analysts have been around for many decades, but thanks to the advent of the computer, as well as substantial increases in funding and personnel, the profession has taken a giant leap forward in the last few decades. Scholars and researchers have identified 5 traditional duties of crime analysts.
Intelligence analysis involves the study of organized criminal activity, things that link people, places, and events. Criminal investigative analysis is the study of serial criminals, victims, and scenes to identify serial patterns. Tactical analysis refers to the examination of crime characteristics, such as how, when, and where incidents are occurring to develop leads and clear cases. Strategic analysis studies long-term patterns and causes of crime to help agencies problem-solve issues. Finally, administrative analysis involves presenting findings to law enforcement, city officials, and citizens.
Although crime analysts are a fixture in many police departments, Piza Fegn wanted to find out if agencies are using crime analysts to evaluate police programs, or are they simply performing the traditional functions of a crime analyst. To find out, they surveyed members of the International Association of Crime Analysts about their duties and training. Using parametric and non-parametric ANOVA modeling, as well as binary logistic regression, and you know what? Look. Their methods were deemed valid and reliable by peer reviewers in a journal that has a 90% rejection rate, so let's just skip to the results, okay? Here's the main takeaway, and I'll be honest, it's really disheartening. Piza Fegn found that crime analysts were largely uninvolved in program evaluation. In fact, 47% had not received any program evaluation training at all, and here's why that's a problem. We're supposed to be living in the era of evidence-based policing. How are police agencies supposed to gather and evaluate evidence about what works without including crime analysts?
I wanted to see how these findings apply to my department's crime analysis unit, so I sat down with Jeff Peterson, the head of the crime analysis and intelligence unit here at the Lincoln Police Department.
So why doesn't LPD's crime analysis unit evaluate programs and policies?
Well, Luke, actually we do. We do quite a bit. And if you paid attention during our monthly meetings, you would understand this.
No. You can edit that part out, right?
As it turns out, LPD's crime analysis unit has worked with several units and helped evaluate a number of policies and strategies, including a social media crime prevention campaign, a hotspots targeted enforcement project, and exploring reasons for declining clearance rates. They are also working towards crime forecasting, advising officers when and where to expect potential incidents.
This is what, like a high-pressure system of homicide moving in this weekend?
Luke, you need to pay more attention during the monthly meetings.
Piza Fegn make 3 recommendations. First of all, agencies must commit sufficient financial and personnel resources to program evaluation and evidence-based policing. Second, crime analysts must receive more training about program evaluation, ideally provided by the International Association of Crime Analysts. Third, agencies must collaborate with researchers. Doing so would allow a mutually beneficial exchange of knowledge, data, and findings between researchers and agencies. So if crime analysts had the knowledge and training, what sort of things could they help a police department evaluate? Here's just a quick list of examples.
First of all, community outreach and education campaigns.
Hey, excuse me, ma'am. I'm Officer Bonkiewicz with the police department. Hey, we've had a rash of break-ins in the area. Could you just remember to lock your vehicle, please?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
lock your door! Why'd you do that?
Do you really think yelling at people is going to prevent crime?
Well, not anymore. I mean, the data's pretty clear on that.
Second, targeted enforcement efforts, focused deterrence, and hotspots projects.
Okay, listen up. Over the last weeks, we've had quite a few pastry shops robbed, so we're going to try and experiment. If your district ends with an odd number, you're part of the control group, it's business as usual. But if your district number ends in an even number, we want you to drive to the nearest donut shop and stay there for the remainder of your shift, okay? Next month, we're going to switch things up.
Finally, analysts could even assist in developing metrics for and helping identify new weapons platforms. In case you're wondering, yes, LPD did use data to pick its latest firearm. The fact is, we're only limited by our imagination, by what our crime analysts can help police departments evaluate.
We've joked a little bit throughout this video, but the value and importance of having crime analysts evaluate programs and policies cannot be emphasized enough. What if a crime analyst evaluates and demonstrates the efficacy of a traffic enforcement project? Maybe that means I don't have to knock on a parent's door in the middle of the night and tell them that their son or daughter has died in a car crash. What if a crime analyst evaluates and demonstrates the impact of an outreach program that helps those struggling with opioid addiction? Maybe that means I don't have to tell a child their mom or dad has died from an overdose. Here's the point. Every member of a police department protects and serves. Some do it with a gun belt and some do it with data, but they're not mutually exclusive. On the contrary, they must work together to find out what works and why. And that's why it's so important that evaluation becomes a core job duty for crime analysts everywhere. I'm Bonkiewicz, and we'll see you out there chasing the bad guys, as well as the data.